Hey everyone, welcome back to the man cave. So I've just come back from Spain, as many of you may have watched the video last week, and I'm still noticing pilots taking off and waggling and letting go of the brakes and pushing and doing all sorts of crazy things to get into their harnesses, and it's so dangerous, especially just after takeoff. If you're unlucky and you hit a bit of turbulence, you have an asymmetric tuck, a symmetrical tuck, whatever input you need on your glider you can't do because you're down here pushing your bum in, could really cause a bad crash. So I want to go over, I've done this before, but I want to go over it, an up-to-date version of how to tune a harness so it's easy for you to get into. Now, a lot of people, as soon as we give a student day one, moment one, as soon as we put a harness on them and we show them all the adjustments, virtually every student takes the shoulder straps and pulls them right on, so they feel a little bit more tighter and the harness comes up their back a bit better and they just feel like it fits them better. It must be some sort of a mental thing that people do. I don't know why. That's the worst possible thing to do, because from the side, if you pull the shoulder, these straps, if you pull them on, the harness comes from the back of your knees up your backside. So when you take off, it's up your backside. You're hanging off it, you're hanging in the air, and you can't get back to get into the harness because you pulled those on. It's as simple as that. I'm lost for words. There's nothing else to say. You can't pull these right the way on. A rule of thumb is when you're sitting in the harness and you do that, i.e. thermaling, where one arm's on and one arm's off, and that, you should just at the top of your raised arm, just feel the top of the shoulder starting to touch the pad, both sides. That's a nice feeling. If you can get your arms right up like that so you can turn in thermals and turn while ridge soaring. I mean, you wouldn't be going that high on ridge soaring anyway, but thermaling, you tend to come right up on your arm. So that's a rule of thumb of the nice sort of pressure you want on your shoulders. Let me show you. So we've just had this harness come in. Funnily enough, I was actually going to do a video today on new items we've had in that we're selling. And this was going to be the first thing I was going to do it on the video. This harness that's just come in, a Woody Valley 1E reversible harness, size large. But anyway, as it's here, I thought I'd just do the video on this harness. Now I've already tuned it. I've already tuned the harness. In fact, I might have to go and get another harness, because this harness, I'll just show you that these, in fact, let me put it, sorry, I'm being stupid. Let me put it back to where I've got it nice. In fact, yeah, let me leave it where it is. Let me put it up. I'm not prepared at all for this. As I say, this wasn't going to be a video. I was actually going to be doing a video on items for sale that have come in this week, because I've just bought a huge bulk order of stuff off a lot of people that are packing up. So anyway, I'm not really prepared. Let's put this harness on and show you what I mean. Right. So as I say, I have already tuned this up perfectly for my fit, ready to sell it. So I'll untune it, as it were. So let's just get strapped in first. Here's another tip while I'm doing this. Don't let anyone talk to you while you're putting your harness on, ever. Just say politely, could you just give me a sec? I'm just going to put my buckles on, because I've seen this happen. Talking away, you might ask you a question. Oh yeah. I've seen Leavesley aviation videos. They're the best in the world. Blah, blah, blah. Forgot that bit. I've only done one leg. Anyway, let's go and have a good fly. You connect your glider. This has happened. I've watched this happen on videos, not in real life. Run, take off. Oh, this feels funny. Been chatting away. You've missed a leg strap and a chest strap. or whatever. So don't let anyone talk to you whenever you're putting your harness on. Anyway, leg strap. I actually always count them. Even now, after all these years, I count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your little... This one isn't to hold you in the harness, it's to stop the shoulders from falling off. Now this harness is fitting me perfection, because as I keep saying, I've already set it up. So anyway, I'm in the harness. Here we are, here are the shoulders. I'll come close, you can see. Here are the adjusters, here. And what a lot of people do is, they do that. In fact, most students, day one, or certainly my students, they just do that. And I'll say to them, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'll tell them what I'm telling you now. That's going to be hard to get in your harness, because now the seat board is right at the back of my thigh. So now, if I get in the harness and simulate a takeoff, so I'm running, taking off, I haven't moved an inch, and I can feel now behind me, I'm nowhere near in the harness, I'm hanging on the harness. This is where people tend to let go and do that in flight. You can't do that. You can come together with the brakes. So let me go back. So it's hanging right, it's right at my back, look. You've took off, you can't get in the harness. I'm literally hanging out now, plus it's hurting the crown jewels. You can, of course, bring the brakes together. These aren't brakes, I'm just trying to simulate. You can bring the brakes together and quickly do that, but even that's hard. That's hard to get in. Oh, there you go, I'm in now. You don't want none of that. You want to take off and fall in the harness. And it's all because, I'll just come closer to the camera so you see. It's all because these are yanked on too far. So if I let them off, I mean, I'm not saying you want them fully off, but it depends on your height. If you're tall, you may want them fully off if the harness is a bit close. If you're a large person that should be wearing a large harness and you're in a medium harness, and that's just the way it is, you bought the wrong harness, then you will want these fully off. But I'm a large harness sort of person, and this is a large harness, so I've released them fully off. And actually that feels, it's funny, this harness is marked up as a large, but it feels like more like, I would call this a medium large, because with them fully off, I've still got a bit of pressure, and it still feels a little bit higher than I would normally expect on a large harness. On a large harness, I'd expect it to be down there more, but it can't go down there because these are already fully off. So although this is marked as a large, I would call this more of a medium large fit. I'm 6 foot. So anyway, they're fully off now for me. So let's just see if I get in it now when I hang. Much easier. Twist lock carabiners on this harness. In fact, I might as well talk to you as if I'm selling the harness, because as I keep saying, the video is going to be on all my new gear that I'm selling. Anyway, there we go. Clipped in, fully released now. Run, run, run. Sit down, lift your legs. I'm in. I'm fully in. Straight away. No gap. I'm completely in now. That's the difference with having these off. So with them off, run, 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 sit down, lift your knees, boom, I'm in. Not much more to say. Don't have these pulled on. Well, I'll rephrase that. Don't have them pulled on too far if you don't need them on too far. You're almost better having them loose for your first flight, and then when you take off, if you fall in easily like that, but these are miles in the air, maybe you should just pull them on a little bit, but don't be pulling them right the way on. Other settings, on the side of your rib cage, coming from the carabiner, let me just unclip and come close again. just so you can see. So from the carabiner, this adjustment here from your rib cage is for your angle. A rule of thumb, I tend to have the adjuster part just at the front of the carabiner. That's a nice position for me. I don't want to be too laid back because it tends to give me nausea and neck ache. So I don't want to be flying like that, trying to look forward. But I don't have them pulled on too much further than that, otherwise I'm flying like that. I'm flying like I'm hanging on the edge of the harness. So a nice setting is the adjuster, the flap of the adjuster just in front of the carabiner. So we call this your angler dangle. So these, it's like when you get in your car and you recline your seat and you recline it back forward, bring it forward, bring it back. That's what these are for on the side of your harness by your rib cage. Leg straps, you don't want them silly tight because they'll ride up, especially for blokes, and you'll end up singing like the Bee Gees. So you don't want them silly tight. I tend to just have them so I can sort of get my fist under them like that. Hopefully you can see that. That's sort of a nice position. And that's about it really. There's not much else to say. Chest strap. In fact, if I hang again, chest strap setting, I tend to have slightly pulled on. So if I just sit down as if I'm flying, the chest, stop myself swinging, the chest strap, let's just go, oh sorry, wrong way. That's fully off like that. So that's at its widest. And I tend to just pull it on about 1.5 inches, just to pull the risers in a little bit more, give me a bit more stability if it's a turbulent, bumpy day. But I tend not to adjust it once it's adjusted. On all my harnesses, I just pull them on slightly. If it happens to be a harness where it's really benign and boring and feels quite dead, I would have it fully open, a bit wider, because the harness is so benign and boring and dead. But on most harnesses, yeah, I pull it on about 1.5 inches. So elbow, it's hard to show you this properly because I bolted these in the wrong position on the roof. Because risers aren't this close. Risers are way more out like that. So it's hard to show you. Oh, actually, it's not far off. So if I put a rule of thumb is elbow on the inside of one of the carabiners and about loose knuckles touching this side of the carabiner. Like that. And that's it. Hope that helps. Quick, short, little nice to the point video on harness setting. Cheers. Sorry, another thing that's just come into my head. How about I show you, and again I have done this a few years ago, while I'm in here, I'll show you setting up a speed bar. Yeah, let's do that. I've got a speed bar over there. Let's put a speed bar on the harness and I'll show you the way I set a speed bar. Let's do that now. So while I'm doing this, you'll have seen I've just come back from Spain with a bunch of team pilots, customers, now good friends. And the Spanish trips are going mad. They're going really, really mad, super busy. And in fact, February 26 is already sold out, and I don't even think we've advertised it on the internet yet. So February 26 is sold out, and believe it or not, October 26 is half sold out. So if you are interested in one of my trips, one of our trips, sorry, you best get your name down, or at least contact Sean ASAP, because it's unbelievable how fast they're selling. Anyway, let me go and grab a speed bar. All right, here we are. Let's just move the camera around so you can see a bit better. Okay, so let's get this thing unraveled. As I say, I am not prepared at all, I'm afraid. This wasn't going to be this sort of a video. I'm a bit like this on my trips. I was saying to the pilots last week in Spain, I don't, excuse me, I don't write down like a spreadsheet of all the things I'm going to talk about on the holiday. I'd rather do it a bit more open and just, oh, this has just popped into my head. And that's popped into my head, and talk about thermaling and the way I thermal and the little hints that I've got on thermaling. Anyway, back to the speed bars. So before I put the lines through, I like these sort of speed bars with a fairly rigid tube at the front of them. I like these because they stay out front where you want them. So it's easy to just lift your heel and your heel's on. So I like this sort of a speed bar. So I always adjust them so they sit not tight, but right here when the glider's under tension. So even if this gets knocked off, on a lot of harnesses, please, harness manufacturers, don't be so stingy on your Velcro. Bloody hell. These are always ripping off. Stingy. We need more Velcro and we need more length here. And we need probably a stronger Velcro because they're always falling off everybody's harnesses. Anyway, I adjust them. So I put the bar on first, like that. And even when the bar's not held in like that, the way I adjust it, in flight, when the tension's on the glider, on the risers, on the lines, it stays within about an inch of the bottom of the harness. So I don't trip over it. Even when I'm ground handling, with the slightest bit of tension, it stays there. It's not down here and you're tripping over it while you're ground handling. So I'm going to put it on there on the Velcro as a template. I want it to sit there when it's under some tension. So now get a line, undo these Brummel hooks, and what we'll do is we'll carefully spot, in fact we can even put it on there so it's already on. Here's the first pulley, so we come through that pulley, and again I'm not prepared, so I don't even know where it runs on this. Let's have a look. Not there. See if there's another pulley in here. Looks like it just comes straight out of there. Let's just make sure there's no pulleys there. No, go straight through. So through the pulley, through the hole, like that. There we go. Perfect. Come around here again. And then we'll come through here, through the speed bar itself, like that. Just do this side as well. So drop it on the mail on the Brummel hook, I should say. Make sure the pulleys aren't twisted, so we come through nice and square. And then again down here, through the eyelet here, like that. Actually, I've done that wrong already. There's a little elastic here, look. Not on all harnesses, but on most. That elastic helps pull the access line in. So we go through there, like that, and then back through the harness like that. That's good. Same this side. Through the little elastic, like that, and then through the speed bar, like that. Get it in the middle, like that. That's good. That's all good. Make sure there's nothing's pulled on these. We want them right the way off, so there's nothing's under tension there. Just the slightest of pull, because don't forget, when you sit in it with your body weight, it will all tighten up a little bit. So push them down a bit, get an idea where they want to sit. That looks pretty good. And then we can loosely tie them off. Just put a loose knot in, because we'll probably have to slightly adjust these when we go to the hill. So we'll just put a bit of a loose knot in here, like that. I'd rather them be slightly longer and shorten them to bring them tighter up than take off and we've got bar on. We don't want to be flying with bar pulled on. So that definitely won't have any bar on. They're already, in fact, I reckon they're going to be absolutely spot on already. But you don't want to adjust this that tight that when you take off, they're like a guitar string and you're pulling bar on. That's not good. So that's nice. Pretty slack there. a loose knot and another loose knot, and then the knot I use is like a fishing type of knot. So that first knot's just to hold it in a rough place. If I just pull them through a bit. So now what I do is I go around about 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, and then go back through each one. So pull them loose and go through. Pull it a bit loose and go through. Now why I like this knot, there are probably much quicker and easier knots. I'm just idle and I've stuck to this knot for the last 30 odd years. But why I like this knot is, firstly, it's the only knot I know. But also, watch, when you pull it, I'm a bit of a one for OCD for neatness. And it pulls really nice and neat. And also, the more you push on the bar, push on the knot, it tightens the knot. So the more I push now, the more it tightens. So let's do this side. So we'll go around the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. And then you pull them slightly, each loop upward, and just go through like that. As I say, there are probably much quicker, better knots. But I like this, it works. Oops, like that. What a thrilling video for you all this is. So pull it tight, and then pretend we're sitting in it. Probably quite a bit longer than I was expecting. Yeah, it's a bit longer than I was expecting, that is. And actually, these are not under tension, but these are nice. But I've got that on the wrong angle. This side is longer than this side. So this is another reason why I like this knot. Check this out. You just roll the knot backwards and it releases. So some of the knots are that good, you can't undo them. You need a pair of pliers. This knot, so this side, look at it. It's on a right angle. That's rubbish. I'd like to say I'd done that on purpose to show you how easy the knot is to undo, but I didn't. I've just messed it up. So anyway, we've got to shorten this side to square up the bar, look. Quite a bit. So you just roll the knot and it releases like that. Just falls apart. It's brilliant. It's a great knot, that is. Now, as I say, I've done this video before. Look, it just falls apart. As I say, I've done this video a few years ago, and I do remember quite a few people saying what the knot was called, and I don't remember. What's the knot called? I am sure some of you fishermen out there, or not aficionados, know what the knot's called. Anyway, so quite a bit longer this side, so I'm just going to undo it, pull it through. Let's have a look, try and get this good. Put some pressure on the lines. Bloody miles out that was. That looks good there. A rough knot through just to hold it in position, like that. And then again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then just pull them up and through we go. It's probably a dead boring video for you, this is, but you never know. One of you might go, oh, that was ace. I know how to do that knot now, or I know how to get in my harness now because I'm sick of not getting in my harness. So you just never know, it might help someone. Right, pull it. They all pull up together nice and square. Pull it tight. Ah, boom. Beautiful. All right, so let's put it on there. That looks good. Right, I'm going to have a hang. All right, let's have a hang in it, see how it feels. It looks bang on to me. And while I'm putting this on, another thing that's just come in my head is the video, the in-flight videoing that I do. You've got to be so careful doing in-flight video, and it takes up so much of your brain capacity. You've got to be really confident that you know what you're doing there, guys. Don't be copying me, because believe it or not, in the early days I had some accidents doing the in-flight videoing, concentrating more on the video more than the flying, and I had some really close ones that could have been bad. I've got pretty used to it now, but yeah, the in-flight videoing, especially on the pole flying one-handed, this took years of practice. So I wouldn't really copy that unless you're seriously confident in what you're doing. And my channel is aimed really at the lower end pilots that want to learn tricks that perhaps other channels don't cover. So if you're that type of pilot, don't be copying me with the pole. And the helmet cams are a real bad idea, because if when you launch, you twist and you catch it, it can fail a launch. If you ever had an incident where your glider's collapsed for whatever reason and it's gone around your helmet, it will catch you, it will catch the camera. So you've got to be careful with cameras in flight. You really have. Anyway, so I'm standing up now. Let me just undo it. So look, if I'm on my tiptoes, so it's all loose. Now normally you see people ground handling and they're tripping over the speed bar. So annoying, and it really puts you off and it can ruin a launch. But now look, if I stand on my tiptoes so that everything's loose, look, it's just about by my kneecaps. But when I'm under tension and I sit back and all this goes tight like that, look at that, perfect, perfect. Look where the bar is. It's sitting right where I said, look, what's that? 3 inches from the base of the harness. That's how I tune a speed bar, because now while I'm flying, I haven't got to look for it. I can even have it undone. I don't even need it done up if I don't want it done up, because of the way I've tuned it and I've set it to its length. So now in flight, I can just do that. Either leg, it sits right where I want it. That's how you do a speed bar. Cheers. That's probably the end, but in a minute I might think of something else. See ya. So, yeah, I have thought of something else. The whole idea of doing today's video was on sails. So we've just added this beautiful Woody Valley Waddy harness that obviously you've just seen me set up. It's a large, but I would call it more medium large. It's in fabulous condition. It's hardly been used by the looks of it. It's reversible. It's got a nice elastic pocket here with like a drinks holder there and a tie off. It's actually now got a gin speed bar set up perfectly. So I could leave that on or take it back off. What else can I tell you? It's all adjusted to my height at the moment, which is, as I say, 6 foot. Got the reserve handle, no reserve in it, of course. A zipper pocket on the side here, again with a tie off. It's in immaculate condition, apart from I want to be totally transparent here. I'm not sure whether this has happened in the sun or whatever, but the way Woody Valley have made the harness, they've put some sort of a rubbery thing here. It might actually, it might be where the pilot's used his water thing, look. And it's just on that bit cracked, or started to roll, not cracked, roll, like the plasticky bits sort of rolling, look. I reckon it's where his water's come through, because that's where the water comes through, there. So I wonder if it's whether it's had some splashed water on it. Rest of it's totally mint condition. Let's have a look at this side. That's where the water comes through, look. That's your water pipe. It comes through here and through here. So it must be something to do with perhaps water splashed on it. I don't know. Anyway. Great condition. It unzips and reverses into a rucksack. And then your glider can go in the whole thing. So that's just come in. And we're not really having, because of the way the website's going and the business, we're going crazily busy. Thanks to you on YouTube. We're not having a lot of time to put second-hand stuff on the website. By the time it comes in, it's selling to our team pilots and pilots that have been with us on holidays. So I thought I'd just do some videos on things that we're selling. And that's the first thing that's just come in. That's going to be £350. If it's going to be sold in the UK, it'll be free post. If it's going abroad, it'll be post at cost price.